people will judge you based on that. All right, even if they want to use you on a job. Let's say they're putting together an audit team for something. If someone's a mess, then you're not going to really want to work with them. Okay, so we'll have to, you want to keep that in mind. So part of your training is to do a good job in here. Okay, so we have, what do we have? So, yeah, so that one problem, I could make a drop down out of it, so that'd be self-graded, so that's a good thing. And I wanted to tell you that to feel free to prepare just a bullet list. So if you address motivation, standards of conduct, what year-end actions are in conflict, and what should Linda Butler do, okay? You could just, you don't have to write flowery paragraphs about this and make it 2 pages long, you know? You can just have a list of bullet points. Okay, so make sure that you check the assignment itself for more information on your, what, you know, that might be helpful for you to do the homework. Okay, I'm just doing them now, so I'll be 1 week ahead of you pretty much. Any questions on this? Okay. Okay. William, I promise I'll do this exam later. Let me look at it, and I've got to look at both sections and everything, okay? So I'll get back to everybody immediately after class. Okay, what else? There's one other thing I wanted to show you here. Oh, I'm thinking, oh, I appreciate it, thanks. Yeah, because I didn't know. Now see, the recording stopped up here and then it started again. I don't think that Teams is very stable. I don't know if we need more investment or different software, something different at USF, but it's not working well for me. And I had an important class on Tuesday night, and we, you know, with a lot of conversation, and there were echoes all over the place, even though we muted all the microphones. We're really careful about it. Yeah, Thomas, Philip, Blackboard Collaborate, so it's right in here. Okay, so it'll be right inside of Canvas. I'll put, yeah, I'll put dates down. I'll put all the meeting dates up for it, so it'll be there. I don't know. I just think it's more stable. And I think I told you earlier. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Well, earlier I had 2 students I can't even add to the class. It tells me it's got an issue. So we don't need a product with an issue. So I think we're going to get out of it. So are you guys, do you have study groups in your other classes? Do you have people that you're working together with? Anybody? I really believe in it. Yeah, I did too, David. It was, yeah. I don't know, I think it's good to work together. So I'll create groups, and maybe I'll give you a group, a little problem, so that maybe you'll get to know each other. I think it's a really good idea. You know, a few years ago, we used to use the, Hillary, did you want control of the screen here? Or did you hit a wrong button? Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, we used to have tables right outside where everybody, oh, don't worry. Yeah, the tables right outside the office where everybody would work, and it was really, you know, an efficient and effective way to work, because you got to know people and you could ask questions, and sometimes you don't want to ask me because you don't want me to know, but you shouldn't feel that way. Okay, I don't think I really understood accounting until I had my first job. Honest to God, and it was a million years ago, but they gave me a box. It was called a box job, and all the records for the year were in this box. So I had to put all the records together. It wasn't an audit, but it was a review. And I had to record everything and prepare the tax return and the financial statements, and then everything made sense. But until then, I think it was just sort of different buckets in my head, or else I just passed a test, you know? So I really understand being confused, so don't ever hesitate to ask. Okay, what else was I going to show you? I think that's it. So let's go to, let's go to, I've got a couple things to show you. Darn it. I did a sheet here. No, 1 second. Okay. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you, I told you about the written problems. I'm also going to put the PowerPoints in there with no voice. Some people like to review those maybe before an exam or something, but they don't want to listen to it again, okay? So, because some of the conceptual stuff in there is actually pretty good. So I'll put those in Canvas in case you want it. And I think we're gonna get rid of it. We're gonna get rid of Teams. So one of my favorite things here, what we can do is we can cross this out. Where'd it go? There. Okay, we're gonna use Blackboard. Okay, then I wanted to review a couple things in the textbook that talked about the guidelines and then ethics, because they're both important in different ways, but I thought that this reading was a little bit confusing, and I'm not sure that guidelines is the best word. It's more like mores, or sort of the way things are done in management accounting, okay? Not necessarily guidelines. But if you are a management accountant working for a corporation, you're really part of the team. You're part of the company. You're not necessarily in that step away auditor mode. Okay, you are to a degree because you've got to protect yourself professionally. You need to know that your reputation and that your is always first, because you can't get that back, and you need to know that you're working in a company that's safe for you, okay, that it makes sense. So they gave out these guidelines, and in the first place, just about everything that you do I just saw this question, sorry, that the quizzes and homework assignments in MyLab have deadlines for December. You know why I did that? Is it Magana? Is that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Say again? Did you say Megan?
Yeah, you can call me whatever. I go by Meg.
Okay. You know what I did? They are graded, and I'll take a look at a piece. I think it's worth 5% of your grade, or is it 2% for Cengage? Or MyLab, I think it is, but they're good intermediate practice, okay? And you want to start sort of migrating to a place where you do homework, not necessarily for points, but because you're trying to understand a concept, okay? So the multiple choice questions that are within Top Hat are sort of at the beginning, okay, a little bit more conceptual. And then when you do the exercises in MyLab, those are a little bit harder. And then the problem that's due for the assignment is definitely harder, okay? It's more of an advanced concept. So it's like 3 levels there. And I didn't put due dates like at the end of the week on Cengage, because if you were late or something by a few days, I don't want to extend dates. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world for you. I need you to stay on time with that homework. Okay, so ideally you get it done. But if you're late, it's no big deal. Does that make sense? Okay. The quizzes are all in Canvas. Okay, so those are on time. Those have to be done on time because I've got to release solutions and things like that. Meg, what do you think? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, that's Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. Okay. Okay, so Hillary, the ones for next week have a due date on them? And you know what I could have done is, it could have been before I changed my mind. Sorry. I'll make sure that they're loose. No, the MyLab ones are graded. Those are graded. So what I'll do is every now and then I'll take the grade off MyLab, all right, and I'll pull like some points in to your grade in Canvas so you can see what it looks like. Okay. And I think, I don't know if you've got 1 or 2 attempts on those. I'll check that. So I want to not set, those are like exercises at the end of the chapter, so they're worthwhile. So I'm going to check dates and attempts.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have 2 attempts per question.
Okay, 2 attempts is good. For a while there, I was thinking 1 attempt, but I think 2, I think 2 attempts is reasonable. No, those, Catherine, I left those quizzes there just for you. I should change it. I should change all their names to practice quizzes because none of them count for us. And those are MyLab's questions, not mine. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Yeah, if I were you, yeah, you can. Yeah, if I were you, yeah. The only things that are really due are our quizzes. That you have to do. Okay. But if we decide to do them, David, I don't think there are points on them. I don't think so. And to tell you the truth, the other thing is I haven't looked at the questions they're asking. So sometimes, sometimes they're not what I think's important. But I should take a look at it, huh? Well, I would use it for practice for sure. Yeah. Now the top hat, MyLab written props, oh, that's correct. That's correct. So ideally with top hat, what I'd like you to do is to read a chunk of the book, just one piece of it. I gotta shut this thing off. One piece of it, and then, watch a presentation and then answer some questions about it. So by that time, it's sort of in your head, And then if you wanted to, like I could tell you which MyLab questions to do then that relate to that, I could do that. Maybe that would help. And the written problem is like at the end of the week. But what I'd like to do is on Thursdays is to go over the homework that's due on Monday. Not go over it, but just make sure that we're all clear for it. Okay. So on Tuesdays, I'll do the class problems. Hopefully we'll get through them. If not, we'll finish them on Thursday, and then we'll do if there's anything in the homework that will help, because sometimes they're really hard. Like the one on regression is a tough chapter. It's just a tough chapter, and I think we need better materials for it. I think it would almost be better if you had to do a regression problem. I think that would be more meaningful, for that whole chapter. Just do a real regression. We could just do it in Excel and then interpret it. I think that would make sense. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, you can ask, if you think of something, go ahead and post it, and I'll keep an eye on this. Okay, so these guidelines, anyway, when I first looked at the chapter, and plus I think I could do a better job in the presentation on this, but it's not 3 separate things, okay? What these are is just about everything that you do as a managerial accountant is about cost benefit and resource allocation. That's really the bottom line with everything. So this behavioral, technical, and different costs for different purposes, these are like subsets that are underneath this. They're definite considerations, all right? They're definitely like a lens that you've got to use when you answer questions in managerial, but they're not 3 distinct things here in the first place, okay? So, and I worked for a bank, and I was in charge of business propositions, it was called. So if you wanted to spend more than $100,000, you had to put together, net present value and some internal rate of return and some schedules of cash flows And then I would put it together in a package before and review it before it went forward to senior management, okay? And what you're really looking at is, will the benefits exceed the costs, all right? And then it's characterized by hard to quantify costs. And this is an understatement, okay? Hard to quantify, oh yeah. I mean, seriously hard to quantify. Like if you had to, let's say that you are in charge of information systems and you've got to put a new communications controller in, some new equipment, or you've got an order in for a new processor that's 7 years in the future. How do you justify the benefits of this? I mean, the benefit is staying in business, okay? Remaining competitive. You don't have any choice, okay? So those are like really hard ones to try to justify. But at the same time, you've got to watch those costs. And what's difficult about information technology is that usually only the people in IT really understand it, and understand maybe what's coming in the future. So, I mean, you could dump money into this all day long and they'd still be asking for more. Okay, this is one bottomless place to put funds. But then there are other ones that are smaller that are tricky. Like, do you outsource human resources? Okay, human resources is really a good thing to outsource. It's not necessarily part of your strategy. It isn't unique. Like payroll for sure is outsourced all the time. Okay, so that one you can see really well. Like if I do it myself, it's gonna, maybe we've got a department. You probably have a usage fee for how much IT it's using up. I've got so many people hired that do this, and they've got to keeping those systems up to date is a huge job because tax rates and all that change all the time, and you've got to manage all the benefits. So it's a very, very big area. But how do you quantify the benefits from outsourcing IT? Okay, are the people better? Would your employees feel better if they had an employee problem and they went to a human resource department that was outside the company? What do you think? Has anybody been in a situation like that? Like, let's say that you've got an issue, you've got a problem, you've got a conflict at work. It could be a million things. It's happened to me. And as soon as I went to human resources, the first thing they did was call my boss. All right. And it actually happened twice. And they were serious issues. They weren't small. These were big deals, but it was a long time ago. I think what happened years ago hopefully doesn't happen as much as it does now. But you see what I'm saying?
I think it all depends on what the issue is.
Yeah. Let's say it's an nasty issue. It's one that is touchy.
Like the personable part.
Yeah.
And then other times you don't want anybody to know your business, because at an HR, like, you didn't know how to not talk to everybody else about their business.
Right. Yeah, it's really hard. But let's say you've got an alcohol problem, or you've got an abuse situation at home, and all that stuff comes to the office. So those are the types of considerations, and that's why I just wanted to point out that these are hard. These aren't easy. When we do the problems in the text, we're really looking at how to identify relevant information. And how to present it, and what we're looking at pretty basic problems compared to what it's really like at work. Okay, so you're looking at getting step one of the tools to do this, and it's really more difficult than that. Okay, so this chapter gives you more information about it, especially in terms of if you have a problem. The first thing that you want to know is, well, what am I going to do? It's like knowing that a hurricane's coming. Okay, if a hurricane's coming, you know that you want to have a box together that has this stuff, and you want to have some solar lights and things like that. You got to make sure that you've got water. Well, it's the same thing at work, that if you're going to have, let's say you've got a really aggressive boss who has got plans and wants to get promoted and wants to be a superstar and will do anything to get to that point. All right. That's a real problem when you're an accountant. It really is, because those people are tough. They make a lot more money than you. They are line employees. They've got direct contact with customers, where you are just staff. You're an accountant. You're part of fixed administrative costs. All right, so that those are difficult situations to be in. And so you want to have a plan. You know, what am I going to do if this happens? And then, you know, if you've thought it through, that can make a really big difference in how to handle it. So some of the things to consider when you think about behavioral technical considerations, it's still maybe a cost benefit problem, but you want to keep like workers' behavioral considerations really important. Okay, if you take away someone's input into a process and say, well, no, we're going to do that at a consolidated level, okay? People's noses are going to be out of joint, all right? And what they tend to do is keep information to themselves. They won't share information. So, you know, someone's value and their worth at work is an important consideration, all right? Knowing what's happening on a shop floor, or how people feel, even in a CPA firm, okay, if they feel like they're getting worked too hard. Those are important things to consider. Okay, turnover is very expensive. I have a friend that did a study on this, and like to hire a faculty member costs something like $80,000 if you really cost everything that goes into it. Okay, between all the people that have to review things and all the meetings, and all those people cost so much an hour. Okay, so, and then technical improvements are, you know, are always back there. That, you know, this is always part of a way that we have to look at things and evaluate them. Like if you've ever had an old Fitbit or an old, you know, some kind of a wearable technology thing, if you've had it for 2 or 3 years, it'll really take a long time to recharge. And that's because the software at the other end of the line has changed so much that, you know, it can barely talk to the system anymore. Okay, that's why old phones and that. I think operating systems on phones now are only updated, like your company will tell you, we're going to stop updating this in 12 months, you know, that it'll no longer be supported. That's what it'll say. You know, and you may not even be able to use it. So it's not like you can make any of those decisions for everything. Okay. And then the other piece that's important is any questions on this? Is this making sense? I wish I see, this is when I need faces. Okay. Okay. The other thing that is important is that you've got different costs for different purposes. I also worked as a cost accountant in a foundry. Well, actually, they made compressors that went on it was a really neat company, and it was very old, and it had wooden bricks in the shop. That's something. So what else? And we had a foundry, and we had people with lead poisoning all over the place, which is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. It's very serious medical compromise, you know. It makes you violent, you bring it home, you've got all kinds of problems from it. But if you tell a shop manager, if someone on the floor asks you for a cost, okay, your first question has got to be, for what? You know, what do you need the cost for? Which is going to be a really irritating question. They're not going to like that answer because they think the cost is cost, and it isn't. All right, there's really big differences between financial cost and managerial cost. If it's for financial statement purposes, you know, of course it's going to be GAAP. Hopefully it's going to be GAAP, but GAAP is far from perfect too, and that's got a lot of compromises in it. Where if it's managerial, you know, the question might be, you know, do you want a fully absorbed cost? I mean, you can't say it that way, versus a variable cost. You know, what the manager wants to know is, what am I going to be charged? You know, how much am I going to be charged for this? So just another thing you have to be really careful of. And you can make theoretical arguments, like if you take fully absorbed costs, your fixed costs are costs that you would have whether or not the company produced a single unit. All right, you've still got these fixed costs. So why not write them off in full every year? Why attach them to inventory? Okay, as soon as you attach some of that cost to inventory, you give the manager the ability to manipulate net income. Okay, because the more they produce, the less is attached to inventory, the higher net income is going to be. Okay. All right. So this is just another piece of it, but think of it as a lens that you need to use when you evaluate cost benefit, and actually it's about resource allocation. Okay, where do you put your money in a company? What product line? Okay, do you invest in a new product, or maybe a whole new business? You know, there can be winners and losers all the time with these decisions. You know, and you've got to remember that when someone comes forward with a project, it isn't just one project being evaluated. It's being evaluated against maybe 10 others, and maybe they can only do one or two. So, you know, you've got competition within the firm for where those resources go. Okay. So it's kind of an interesting area. You know, it is. I'm always interested in small business and how they make these decisions, you know, because generally they're just trying to stay in business all the time. Okay. So let's take a look at the homework. Let's take a look at one problem at 131. So, oh, there we go. Good. Okay, so we'll go to 131 and just look at this. No questions? How you guys are all right? Okay, thanks, Sarah. Okay, 131. Okay, so now maybe after we talk about this, maybe this will make more sense a little bit. For each of the following items, identify which of the management accounting guidelines applies. Okay, and some of these are more obvious than others. So cost benefit, or is it a behavioral technical consideration, or is it different costs for different purposes? Sometimes it's real obvious and sometimes it isn't. After you talk about it, it gets more obvious. So if it's analyzing whether to keep a billing function within an organization or outsource it. What do you think? Does that feel like, it is, David, it is cost benefit, but I can see why, right. Yes, it is. I can see why you might think that it might be a technical consideration too. See, that's what I would think. Because if it's somebody else is a specialist in it and that's their strategy, that's what they do, you know, they're kind of better at it in some ways, but it is definitely cost benefit. Okay, how about the next one? This is a good one. Deciding to give bonuses for superior performance to employees in a Japanese subsidiary and extra vacation time for employees in a Swedish subsidiary. Why are they doing it this way?
I'd say the value to the country. I think.
Exactly. So if you're in Sweden, what do you want? You want time off or more money?
Sweden's more vacation.
More of what? I'm sorry.
Vacation.
Yeah, they want vacation. They want time off, right, William? They get like, I think about a month's vacation or two. Okay, they get a lot of time off. Whereas in Japan, people want the cash. Okay, how about the United States? How about you?
Both.
Both, exactly. Yeah, the US is tough. Yeah, okay, Jess. You know, I think the research shows that money is third on the list The other thing that's important to an American is like liking your job and liking what you do. Yeah, paid vacation for sure. Okay, so we're not a compromise actually. Maybe we just want it all. I don't know. But like after you've worked a few 60-hour weeks, 60 or 70-hour weeks, taking some time off is really important. So, okay, so what would be the answer to this one for 2? Yes. Yeah, David, this is behavioral. All right, and how about in the next, let's do the next one then, and then the rest of them you can do. Oh, here's a good one though. Take a look at 6. Let's do 6. Selecting the costlier computer system after considering 2 systems. It is panagiotis, right? Yeah, it is cost benefit, but see, I wouldn't have thought so. Maybe it's my problem. It isn't you guys. So you're taking the more expensive one after considering 2 systems. Oh yeah, Thomas, probably not. I think the cost is going to be this prepared in the same way. Yeah, it is. It's going to be cost benefit for yeah, no, it's the same purpose. So you're buying a system for the same purpose. Yes. Well, you're selecting, you've got 2 different ones. You're looking at 2 different systems and you select one. Okay, like let's say that you're looking at CRM software and you're looking between Salesforce and Constant Contact or something like that. Okay. To me, I would have thought this was technical considerations, that's why you went for the costlier one, okay? But the answer is cost benefit. So maybe the benefit is bigger. Yeah, you got a choice between 2. Yeah, so you choose to spend more for more benefits, probably. That's probably it. Okay. How about 3? Including costs of all value chain functions. Okay, make sure this is clear in your head too. Before deciding to launch a new product, okay? But then including only its manufacturing costs in determining inventory valuation. Yeah, Hillary, 6 is cost benefit. Yes, Panagiotis, right. That, yeah, different costs for different purposes. That's what 3 is. Okay, should we do one more? We can do one more. Considering the desirability of hiring an additional salesperson. That's a straightforward one, isn't it? Yeah, cost benefit, right? So the only reason why you hire salespeople is so that they sell. Okay, so they've definitely got to sell more than what their cost is. Usually a multiple. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at, let's go back to one other thing here. I lost my spot. Where's Word? Did I close it? No, it's right here. There it is. Okay, so now let's look at ethics. And ethics is really a serious thing. And what is the real reason? What's the big reason why ethics is so serious in a company? What's the biggest risk? Let's say you're publicly traded. Okay, why are ethics in a publicly traded company really serious issues? Any ideas? Okay, and it isn't because of like doing the right thing or that. I mean, not that those things aren't important. They're important for you personally because your resume, yeah, Thomas, it's to gain trust in investors. That's the whole thing. Okay, it really is. That if a company, if you have ethical issues, or if shareholders get a feeling that everything isn't quite as it seems, your stock price is going to plummet. All right, and it can really affect the entire economy. So that's really, at any time that anyone perceives risk in a company, it's gonna translate by decreasing your stock price. And reputation is everything, Pedro. Reputation is really important, not only for the company but also for you. Okay, I can tell you the name of every accountant I've worked with who cheated. That's something. And they didn't do it for much. I mean, one did it just to get an audit. He paid off a governmental person in the first place, which was so stupid, just to get their audit. You know, and he got caught and lost his license and all kinds of stuff. I had one friend that went to jail for 3 years. These are my friends. Okay, so what we've got, and then the other thing to point out is that Sarbanes-Oxley, I mean, this was a big deal to happen. You were born then, right? I hope. Sarbanes-Oxley was a massive, major piece of legislation because prior to that, the CPAs held all the liability. All right, it was all on them. And, you know, just think that when you do an audit, you're really sampling the data. You're not looking at every single transaction, or you don't really know what's happened all year long. Okay, so they shifted more to managers. And so I think that is, if you had, yeah, they all got fired. If you have a job in a company as a management accountant and you're slightly compromised, all right, that you didn't do the right thing, I don't think you're above getting sued. Okay, everything's like moving more so this way. So it's something to keep your eye open. And I mean, the stock market certainly wants more protection, not less. Okay, so the IMA has standards of ethical behavior, and generally, honestly, I read stuff like this and I think, oh, blah, blah, blah. What do I need to pass the test, or what do I need for the question? Okay, I don't really pay any attention to it. But there are a couple things here that I think are really important. So let's go through this a little bit. One of the things is that you can call the IMA. Let's say that you've got a problem, and you can call the IMA and get help on it. Okay, someone like on the outside that is independent but specially trained here can help you make decisions. Okay, so those are all really important things. Now that didn't exist when I was at work. Of course, dinosaurs existed then too, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Okay, so we've got these standards here, and they're straightforward. Okay, overarching principles, okay, are honesty, fairness, objectivity, and responsibility. Okay, so these are overarching principles. And then the standards are below. Okay, difference between principles and standards. So you want to notice that. The standards are, you've got to be competent. I think that's a good standard. So you've got to maintain professional expertise, so you're always enriching knowledge, performing professional duties according to the law. There's a plan. And provide decision support and recommendations that are accurate, clear, concise, and timely. And then finally, recognize and communicate professional limitations or other constraints that would preclude responsible judgment. Okay, so that's competence. So this all makes sense. Confidentiality, to keep information confidential, sure. Inform all relevant parties, that makes sense. Refrain from using confidential information. Okay, I have no problem here. Sometimes I have trouble distinguishing competence from integrity. Okay, if I look at a situation, not so much looking at this, but when I'm looking at a situation. So make sure that you can distinguish them. Credibility, you can say. So under here for competence, communicate professional limitations. Under credibility, communicate information fairly and objectively. Okay, there's a slight difference there. Disclose delays or deficiencies in information. And this is recognize and communicate professional limitations or other constraints. Okay, whereas credibility is delays or deficiencies in information, timeliness, processing, internal controls. So there's sort of an overlap for all of these. Will this be on the exam? Is yes. Okay, even if it's just, you know, it could be a matching question. Okay, it could be a couple multiple choice questions, but the idea is to get all these questions right. Okay, because these are actually the easy ones. You know, if you're going to lose points, lose it on something that's worth losing it for, not this. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. The other thing too is that we won't be talking about ethics probably again in the whole semester until possibly the last class when we talk about benchmarks. And yet it's very, very important, and you're always sort of in a tough position as a management accountant, because you've got all the financial stuff and all the professional expectations in your head. Okay, but you're working for a company, so you're always sort of matrix to the company, but you're working for yourself. You know, and you're working for the profession, representing the profession. So that's what's tough about it. So let's look at this woman that he has a problem. Yeah, anything, Hillary, pretty much anything that I talk about in our live time together is on the exam. Okay, I think that's the best way to spend this time. So when we have, and what we'll do is on Tuesdays, I'll do class problems. I'll do problems together. Some of them I might have done. Where's this? Yeah, this document is there, Anna, but I'll put it up. Yeah, I'll make sure that this is, and I'll probably put it in I don't know, I think it belongs in Top Hat. You know, in that last module, I'll put it in there. Because somehow the book is hard to read on this. I can read this better than the book has a lot of space. Okay. And I'll let you know when I get it up. I did it before class. Okay, so let's do, so on Tuesdays, we'll do problems. We'll actually work problems together. And then on Thursdays, we'll get ready for the homework for next week. So we'll finish up any problems that we didn't get done, and we'll also work on the homework that's on, that you've got due. Make sure you're really set up for it. And that worked really well last semester because, you know, you're kind of not spinning your wheels in some ways. Yeah, Dave, it really works. It really does. And if you miss class, you can catch the recording, provided I remember to turn it on and you know, Blackboard's better at it though. I think Blackboard is more stable. Okay. So there was one other thing I was going to show you before we do I'm going to close this. I did and boy, this is taking a long, recording has started. Oh boy. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Why is it there? It's showing that it's not there. Presentation was for graduates. This one. Okay. Can you all see this now? You can see this slide? It's a PowerPoint with a circle in it? Okay, okay. It's not showing me that, so I'm going to show you. This is one thing it's my new thing. I've got a tablet that I can write on. See, this is actually, I have to watch the screen, but I can write here. So I was going to try to use it for problems. So you don't have to look at my hand, okay? So we'll see how it goes. You have to, it's hard to control in some ways to write. But one thing I was going to show you is this is called the gap oval. It's not bad writing, huh? It's okay. This is called the gap oval. And these are, say, everything within the circle is gap. But as you get closer to the edge, this area right here, say, is a little bit gray. These aren't real solid boundaries. So we find that companies take positions all over the place. And maybe this should look in the center. This should be a whole bunch darker. Let's say this is where all the companies are. I wanted this to be really dark. Well, I'm not going to mess around with pens, but so let's say, oops, I hit the erase button. So say this is really dark here in the center, and then as you get out to the edge, it's still in gap, but these are like riskier positions. So it might be that you take, you change an inventory value, valuation method, and you disclose it, okay, so the shareholders are told, but like you've got to go digging through the notes to see what happened, and it has an impact on net income. All right, like if you change, I think it's from like no, change to LIFO. No, just the opposite. But it'll definitely have an impact on income. It's like a way to increase your income, or you change your revenue recognition method. Okay, like when the new revenue recognition rules came out, I think Apple recognized like 9.3 billion in revenue overnight. Okay, based on a change on how they recognize revenue for cell phones. All right, so you've got this big change. And do shareholders respond to that increased income? You know, does the stock price increase? Right. In the first place, they knew it was coming because they knew this was in the works. And Apple actually wrote the standard, if you can imagine that. So we've got problems here. But my point is that as a management accountant, you've got a really wide range of what gap is. Okay, and companies, nothing is black and white, everything is gray, and companies work all through this, okay, with most companies sort of in the center, but there's still gap positions on the outside, all right, and what you're really working toward is doing your best, doing the best job you can at representing reality, financial reality, okay? This is done by Stice, 1991. It's a good piece of work. He did a lot of work on fraud. Okay, which is always interesting. It's just interesting. So let's look at the last problem now. No questions? Oh, wait a minute. What my accounting cells looked like? My mom, your account, David, I don't get it. What do you mean? Accounting cells? Look like my mom passed out. Wow. Okay. Let's look at the next problem then. This is your easy week. Next week will be a lot more solid. But I want to make sure that we get questions answered here too, okay? Okay, so here's the 35, right? Here's the other problem, okay? That this woman is the new division controller for a snack foods division, and this Daniel Foods has reported they've got a 15% growth in annual earnings every year for the past 5 years. Okay, and for what it's worth, there's one interesting thing that GE was reported the longest consecutive quarters of any company with no decreases. It was just one steady increase, okay, in revenue. So if you don't think there's some income shifting going on there, okay, So in any event, so 15% annual each year for the past 5 years, but that creates pressure, okay, to keep that 15% up. So the snack foods division has reported annual earnings growth of more than 20% each year. Okay, so whoever's running this is a superstar. During the current year, the company went into a recession. And the corporate controller estimates that 10% annual earnings growth for this year, that's what they think it's going to be. And 1 month before the fiscal year end, Butler estimates that the snack foods division will report an annual earnings growth rate of only 8%. So Rex Ray, the snack foods division president, is not happy and notes that end of year actions will still need to be taken. Okay, now don't forget there are a couple key things here. Linda Butler is the new division controller. So she's new to this. And he is implying here then that this is what we do at the end of the year. And one of the biggest problems with doing this is that then you've got to do it every year because your numbers are slightly inflated, which means next year's are going to start out low. So you have to like keep it up, you know. So Butler makes some inquiries. She asks, you know, what are the end of year actions? What did they do last year? And the first 3 that are here are the same actions that were taken in a famous fraud called WorldCom, which seems like it was yesterday, but it was 1983, okay? But it was important because it was one of the first of the really huge frauds. We never had frauds like this before. And then they didn't stop for like 20 years, okay, they're still going on, but it had a massive impact on the market and it was a really big deal. So we've got all these things that they do. And the question is, why might the division president want to take that? Okay. It's pretty obvious, right? I mean, he does it every year. If you get promoted, are you going to get promoted because you're making less? Or are you going to keep your job because you're making less than the prior year? You're making less than the division when you've always been a superstar before? Okay, so there are a lot of reasons that this person's going to want to do that. All right, so you can speculate on those things. Next question is, she's deeply troubled and she reads the standards of ethical behavior for principles, classify each year-end action as acceptable or unacceptable. Okay, so is deferring routine monthly maintenance on packaging equipment by an independent contractor till January of next year? What do you think? Is that acceptable or unacceptable? Can you delay maintenance? Does that change what the shareholders see? You'd be reporting the correct number, correct? What do you think? So we're just looking for acceptable or unacceptable. How come, Kyle? Uh-oh. David and Kyle, you're being outnumbered here. What do you think? How would you evaluate it? Yeah, it would be acceptable. All right. There wouldn't be anything recorded. You would just have less expense. In some ways, remember how with fixed costs, we've got discretionary and non-discretionary fixed costs. Remember that? And a non-discretionary one is one that you can't get rid of, like depreciation. I don't know if I can write here. I can't write it. So we got discretionary and non-discretionary. Advertising is discretionary. Okay, it's a fixed cost. It's definitely not variable. It doesn't vary with the activity, but it's a discretionary one that if we needed the money, if we need the cash flow, we could not do it. Okay, so with this, it might not be a good idea to defer monthly maintenance. It might be risky for your employees, but it's definitely an acceptable thing to do. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. How about extending the close of the current fiscal year? So we take some of January sales and put them in December. What do you think about that one? Definitely. Yeah, that's unacceptable. There'll be no delaying the close. The close is the close. All right. So you definitely can't do that one. Now that is what WorldCom did. They left it open. And as soon as if you're in a company that does this, what you do is you get your resume and you run. You always want to have a rope over the north wall so you can get out. Altering dates of shipping documents of next January sales to record them as sales in December. What's our vote for this? I got to learn how to do polls really quick. Yeah, for sure unacceptable. You can't do that. You can't do that. How about giving salespeople a double bonus to exceed sales targets? Does it work? Sure, that's okay. That's how they're motivated. That's how they work. They work on bonuses. That's actually just about all their income. They might only have a very small salary. That's okay to do. It's actually a good idea. Deferring the current period's advertising by reducing the number of television spots. What do you think? Yeah, that's okay. All right. Okay, so the last ones are for you. You can figure those out. And then the last question I want to talk about is what should Butler do if Ray suggests that these year-end actions are taken in every division and that she'll really harm the snack foods division if she doesn't cooperate and everybody else does it. Okay, and the fact is that for ethics that people are more influenced by who they work with than what it was like with when they were children. Okay, if they were taught ethics, if they went to a great school, it was part of their family and everything else. It sort of goes away when you're working with different people. Move the reply. Way to move where the. No, David, I can't do it. You mean the chat? If I could slide the chat up. Guess what? Oh yeah, I know. Would you have the blue boxes that pop up? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I know. You can close the blue box, but it's like an extra step. We're gonna not use this anymore. Okay, I'm gonna set up all of our meetings in Blackboard, Collaborate, and Canvas, and it's just cleaner. Everything about it is better. I've been keeping a list of everything I'm having trouble with here. As a department, we're keeping track of it because it's annoying. Okay. So next time, okay? I have to switch to full screen view. Oh, really? Okay. Isn't that oh, good, Sarah, that's good. Pictures are nice. Okay. Okay, so what's this woman gonna do? And the reason why I asked this is in the MAC, Masters of Accountancy program, we have a whole week on ethics, and one of the things that happens in there is students will say, let's see if I'm going to do this, I'd call the police. Okay, Thomas, who would you report them to? That's right. Okay, if it's not publicly traded, the SEC doesn't really want to know unless it's a massive securities fraud. Then they'll listen. Yeah. Okay, now is it Isla? Is that correct, Isla? I'm sorry, can I say it again?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, okay, thanks. So Aaliyah is very close, but actually what they recommend is that you talk to your boss. Isn't that funny? That's a hard thing to do though. I can understand it. Yeah, to first talk to the boss, you talk about it, and then you would go to the next higher up. But I would be nervous about doing that. You know, I mean, I would think my time in that division would be pretty short. So the next thing you could do is go to who else? Yeah, it could be the boss. That's right. I know. Okay, so Javier, what do you think? Where else can you go? So see, none of these situations are easy. Sarah, not within the company, there generally won't be one. But after we've had a lot of problems, you might have like a whistleblower or a place to go. The other thing you might be nervous about is going to human resources because it's still within the company. Really? So what are you going to do? This is your, oh, wait a minute, keep you signed in. Your book actually does a good job explaining it, and what they say, there might be a whistleblower hotline, but that's usually within a company. It's not like a government service or anything like that. FASB strictly set standards. They don't handle this. So, you ready for the answer? The FBI special agent, exactly. No, it is an internal problem. But you know what you can do? Yeah, go along with it. Good idea. What you can do is you can call the IMA. Isn't that something? The other thing that I've got to tell you guys about is you can join it for $20, another $20. But there are good things in it that you might be interested in. I've got more information for you. But what you do is you can call the IMA and you can talk to an ethics specialist and explain the situation and get some advice from them. Isn't that a neat thing? I think that's a really good idea. So let's say that your options of resolving it internally are, the internally are complicated, and they always are. And the person could be your friend, could be anything, you know, that always makes it hard. So what you can do is contact the IMA. I think that's a great thing. All right, because half of these problems, you know how we talked about being ready for a hurricane? It's the same thing, being ready with a plan that if something goes wrong, what am I going to do? All right, so you've got it planned out, and what steps am I going to take if this isn't good? Okay, because the last thing you want is some god-awful ethics issue. You know, there isn't anything worse, and it's with you for the rest of your life, you know? So that's all I've got. Okay, but that's about it for ethics. That's about all we'll talk about. And next Tuesday, what we'll do is we'll do some of the class problems, and we'll do them. We can do them together. So you want to have, oh, good, thanks, Conjugate. Thanks. So you want to have the problem, a hard copy of the problem, and when we do it together, I'll have a piece of the problem on the screen, and then I'll be working the solution, say, on the side of it. Okay? Yeah, these notes, Dennis, I'm posting them in Canvas, all the class, the notes. The page I'll put in top hat, the one that this one, oh, you can't see it. The other page that we went through before, and then the class recording, there'll be a link to it, and I'll put it in Canvas. Okay, now when we start using Blackboard, the link will be right within Blackboard, so that'll be kind of nice. Okay, yeah. So how about more questions? You too, David. Anybody else? Are we good? All set? I'll hang here for a while in case in case anybody wants to stay, but if you want to leave, you can leave too, okay? There's usually one or two people that are having problems that they don't want to jump out in front of the group. Yeah, you have a good weekend too. Yeah, stay safe. You guys are doing a good job of that, so. Yeah, the blue box drives me crazy too, and I can't get rid of it. Okay. Okay, Thomas, I got your picture. That's good. Page is so funny how it doesn't show. Okay, Sarah, next week a picture. Oh. Yeah, see, that's a tough job too. If you're a partner, your whole job is to get and keep business. You know, the managers really run the audits and the jobs. I mean, the partner's got to sign off on it. So they've got to have a good relationship and the partner has to stay on top of it, but it's really about hustling business and keeping your clients. The other thing is that there's tremendous competition between firms for audits. So tax is barely a job anymore. That something like, I think that we only have 10% of the tax business that we used to have. So because what happens is at 5 o'clock, the partner or someone will send all the tax returns to India. The returns get done there, and by 9 o'clock the next morning, they're sitting on your desk finished for like a third of the price. So the compliance work is out of the United States, it's gone, which is really something. Okay, so there's more, more pressure to get audit, and the audits are very competitive. They really are. And you have to like it, you have to like public accounting a lot to be a partner. We have a lot of, spends a lot of time trying to get the stuff done that she wants to. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What you might want to do is we have a lot of events with like, there's a group called the Accounting Circle that has some partners in it. And we've also got the Accounting Advisory Council that has, all senior people, and come to events. Oh, we don't have events anymore. Isn't that awful? It's too bad. We should have some speakers, huh? Maybe I'll get some class speakers. I don't know if in a particular, in a topic, it might make some sense. But, and you know what, that isn't even anything to worry about right now. So what you want to do is take everything, sort of get an idea of where you want to go to a presentation for the FICPA. Okay, and you're the ambassador for USF. Oh, okay. Okay, so David, you're saying you want to do a presentation in class. Is that right? For the FICPA, for the Florida Institute? Is that what you're saying, that you wanted to see if we can get student members? Sure. Well, let me know. Let's arrange. Let's look at the timing and career options. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But you know what? You want to think about public accounting like graduate school. Okay, that you do it for a couple of years, get your experience so you can be certified. And then you can do what, you might stay because you love it, because it's great. You like the pressure, you like the whole thing. Like I could put you in touch with a couple graduates that just love it. And they're doing crazy things. Like I've got one really great guy who audits the clicks for, you know what I mean? Like click-throughs on things, because you're charged for those clicks, and he developed ways of doing it, and he is living the dream. Yanni, he's a boy, just absolutely loves his job. But not everybody does. Some people, like I've got another student, she said, I want to go to the same desk every day and have my snacks in the drawer. She didn't want to move. She doesn't want to go around. She wants to be home. So, we're all different. So those, I like change. I love public accounting. I had a ball, the absolute ball. But then I had fun in managerial too. So keep your eyes open, and hopefully we can be live again and meet with people and learn some more about what it's like before you've got to make big decisions. So, okay. Sorry, this other, oh dear. The MyLab assignments are all graded, and that grade will go into Canvas. Okay, but you know what? If you're late on it, it's okay. I left it open just to have just the room in it, you know, because sometimes those can take a long time. Okay, David, sounds good. Yeah. Okay. So it was nice seeing you again. Maybe I'll get more faces in Canvas. More than welcome. You guys have a good weekend. These blue things are a pain in the neck, aren't they? Well, these things pop up on the screen and you can't see the text. There they go. So are we good? Lena, everything's good with you?
Yeah, everything is good.
Okay, honey. Okay. Okay. You have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.